Hello crafty friends, my name's Alicia, but you can call me Crafty Al, and welcome to the June 2025 SheetLoad Rewind video. I hope you'll stick around to see which month we're rewinding back to, see the cards I'm going to make, and find out how you can download the free printable. Welcome, or perhaps welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here today. Each month I stop by and do a little SheetLoad rewind, and this is when myself and some of my creative team members revisit past SheetLoad of Cards editions. Make sure that when you're done watching my video today, you go see what everyone else has created. You can do this by using the playlist that is linked in the description box below or used as an end card at the end of my video. I know that you're going to want to see what everyone creates, so make sure when you do that you give them a thumbs up and leave them some love in the comments. This month the team will be rewinding back to June 2024, which this was a special edition. Use your 6x6 paper, and it showed you how to make 8 cards using just 4 pieces of pattern paper, and of course some cardstock. Some months when I do a SheetLoad rewind, I will go pretty much exactly like the original sketch and cutting guides called for, and sometimes I switch it up, and I am going to do a little bit of that this month. Instead of using 6x6 pattern paper, I'm going to be using 2 pieces of 12x12, and instead of getting both types of the pattern paper pieces A and B from each piece of pattern paper, I am actually going to be cutting A's from one pattern and B's from another. And I figured out a way to do that where you can make 16 cards. So I hope you'll stick around to see how that is done. Later on in today's video, I will tell you how you can download the free printable if you don't yet already have it. As I get into today's process, I will tell you about the main products and tools that I'll be using. But as always, if I ever leave you with any questions, feel free to leave those down in that comment section below, and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. Let's get crafty! Before I get to that process, I do have a special channel member shout out. I would like to say welcome and thank you to my newest paper trimmer level member, Anne Marie M. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you as well to all of my channel members. You keep me creating here on YouTube, and the last 2 years of SheetLoad of Cards free for all subscribers. If you're ever interested in learning more about the perks of channel membership, you can click on the button below this video or the link in the description box below. The papers that I'm using today are from P13's Fresh Lemonade collection, and the orange paper, or the paper with the oranges, I will be using for the piece A's on the sketch, and then the green pattern paper will be used for pattern paper piece B. If you're using 6x6 paper, you'll want to follow the cutting guides on page 2, but since I'm doing a little bit different, I am using those single piece dimensions on page 1. Make sure to pay attention to the special instructions for this edition. We will cut piece A as one 3" by 3" square for now. To do that, I'm going to take the paper with the oranges and cut it into 4 rows that are 3 inches tall. If your pattern paper has a direction, make sure to keep that in mind before you make that first cut. And really with this, since it's squares, it's not a huge deal, but just in case. Once those are cut, you're going to rotate each piece and then cut it again into 4 sections that are 3 inches wide. Now, I didn't mention it before, but make sure with these cuts that you don't do what I call generous cuts. You're going to want to cut it right at the 3 inches or just a hair under, since this does take up every bit of that 12x12 pattern paper. Now with the second piece, I'm going to cut my pattern paper piece B's. So I'm going to cut 1.5 inch tall rows, and I will end up getting 8 from this piece of 12-inch paper. Again, this will take up every little bit of it, so make sure not to do generous cuts. Once you have all of those rows, once again you're going to rotate it, and now from each piece you want 2 pieces that are 5¼ inches wide. Now don't forget, you don't have to remember any of these dimensions because later I'll be telling you how you can download this free printable. Because I am making double the amount of cards, for CS1 I will be using 4 pieces of cardstock, and for CS2 you'll need 3 total sheets. I am doing something a little bit different for my sentiment, so I won't be cutting it from CS2. Instead, I created a set of sentiments that went with that orange paper. I did end up turning half of mine green to match the leaves on the pattern paper. Now, if you are a channel member, you are going to have access to this printable. So over on the community tab today and on the monthly blogs, you'll want to look for a graphic that looks like the one up on screen now. If you're not yet a member, don't forget you can find out all about the perks by clicking on the link in the description box below. For both CS1 and CS2, I will be using Tangerine Twist cardstock from Gina K Designs. Now today I won't be showing you how I cut it, but I will have that original process video linked in the description box below. Another thing that you can check out the process video for is more details on how to cut your square into those 1 inch by 3 inch pieces. Just keep in mind that when you cut those, you'll want to make sure you keep each set of 3 together, and I do that by just cross stacking them. For card bases, you'll need a total of 16, so you just want 8 sheets of cardstock that you'll cut and fold in half. For mine today, I just grabbed some white card bases I have ready in my stash. The last thing I'll be cutting is the sentiments. Now again, if you are a channel member, check out the community tab or the monthly blog. And on these, I made an inch border on the top and bottom and 1½ inch on the left and right. So I started by cutting the sheet in half at 4¼ inches by 11, and then I used the crop marks to cut the sentiments down to the finished size of 2.75 inches by ½ inch. I brought back in my Tangerine Twist cardstock mats, and on the larger piece, CS1, I am going to use the wicker basket embossing folder from Spellbinders. I really thought this had a summery feel like the pattern papers, and I just like the extra texture that it adds. Once those were all embossed, I brought in pattern paper piece B, and now I'm going to add these to that backer. For this, I brought in my Scor-Buddy to help me get those nice and flush against the left side, and I added these about 1/4 inch up from the bottom. Next, I'm going to show you how I added the pattern paper piece A's to their mat. These are 3½ by 3¼ which they do look kind of like squares, but make sure you have them oriented right before you start adding the pattern papers. For this, I take one of the sets of 3 and lay them out so the pattern paper flows on my desktop before adding them to the background. When I do this, I add the left piece, the right piece, and then go in and add the center, just trying to get as even borders as I can. Once those were all done, I brought in my card bases and I added the embossed piece to the front center, and then I added the pattern paper piece A piece. For this, it goes over on the left. I try to get an even border. Now keep in mind, SheetLoad is always a jumping off point that you can adjust the layout and make it your own. While I was off camera finishing all 16 card fronts, I took the scraps of pattern paper B and I added a little flag to the inside of each card. Also, while I was off camera, I added some foam tape to the back of the sentiment strips and I got these placed. I did pretty much go like where the sketch shows, but again, you could adjust these to fit your sentiment or your card layout. I finished the cards off with some sparkly sequins, and here are some close-up looks at the finished set. I hope you enjoyed this rewind to June 2024 and seeing how I put these 16 cards together. If you did, as always, a thumbs up is appreciated. Now let me tell you how you can download the free printable. If you have not yet downloaded the June 2024 SheetLoad of cards, I do ask that you're subscribed to my channel before you click on the link, which I'll tell you where that's at here in just a minute. Subscribing is free, quick, and easy. Just click on that button right below this video. You will find the link to the June 2024 PDF down in the description box all the way at the bottom. Below the link it will say to watch the video for a password, but you watching this far is your password. You can download it to your device and print it, or you can download it to your device and use it on screen. That is up to you. Now don't forget to go see what everyone else has created by using the playlist link here in just a minute or in the description box below. Until my next video, I hope you're all having a crafty day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch all the way to the end of the video. I hope now you'll consider clicking on one of the videos or playlists I have linked above. And if you are interested in any of the products or tools I used in today's video, I do have some links in the description box below.